What is up, YouTube, and welcome to Brute Strength Day 152. And yeah, this training was a pretty tough one because it was 2 days after the high intensity interval training thing that I talked about. We did as part of our semestic project. Um, yeah, so I was feeling very tired in my body, even though I had great sleep. I was just fatigued, and I mean, I lifted 250 kilos, but it was really tough, if I'm being completely honest. I didn't have a good grip. I actually lifted 10 reps with 200 after that, but I forgot to record with the camera, and I was really surprised with how 10 with 200 felt. I could have done like 2 reps more, and the grip was no issue at all. It was just starting to, it's just the strength that was beginning to give out, but I could probably have done 12 reps, and that was extremely surprising. So, I mean, I'm not surprised that I'm better at high reps, but I'm surprised that it's so much better because it's still 80% of my of 250 kilos. And I didn't have more in me for that day, at least for my grip. Maybe I didn't grip the bar enough, something like that, or whatever you want to think. But it's surprising because full force with 200 kg would translate over to like a 275, something like that, on a 1 rep max calculator. And I mean, maybe closer to like 277, something like that. And I know I definitely didn't have that in me, maybe like 260 on that day. So it's really surprising how much better my my rep strength is. And I know for deadlift, especially, it can be like that, where it's like you can do a ton of reps with 90% of your max, but then when you put 10% more weight on, it just don't move an inch off the floor. And the deadlift is unique in that kind of way. In that kind of way. Um, but yeah, it's also why I'm not like working on really high reps because I'm already good at that. And what I need to get better at is heavy weights. I've talked about this a ton before, but I'm much more ex- built for like endurance, things like that. My dad was a good runner before he got into weight training, and I mean, yeah, well, bodybuilding mainly, but he was a good runner without like running like um too much or like, I mean, he was running a lot, but he wasn't built for a runner. Um, he was already doing a little bit of a lifting when he was able to run like 10 kilometers in 35 minutes. Um, so yeah, like I've always been better at endurance, more genetically gifted for that, which is why I'm also trying to do more strength training stuff because for me it's a bigger challenge than just doing endurance or bodybuilding where just going all out and building muscle. That's a lot easier than some of the other things that some of the other challenges that I feel like I encounter when trying to get stronger, and some of the skill stuff that I work on. To me, it's a lot more exciting that you have to constantly make changes to your program, things like that, in terms of your recovery to make room for that. Trying out different things like ascending sets, AMRAPs, top set, with back down sets, all of the different tools you can be using, as well as concentric or eccentric exercises or asymmetric stuff that are useful for different things, or what kind of exercises you're choosing to work on specific weaknesses. There's so many choices that have to be made constantly. And to me, that is exciting rather than just doing something like just pure bodybuilding, where there's not as many things that have to be decided. At least in my opinion, is a lot more boring and a lot more just on the same road all the time. Which for me, I felt like strength training is quite a bit different. Now, this was back in my hometown town at my dad's place, this training. And as always, I'm trying to max out on this 91 kg cable. And for this training, I managed to get 14 reps with a really controlled tempo, which is a PR by one. And and especially when you think about um, how controlled it was, it makes it even more crazier than it's a PR by one to my um, previous PR, which was not controlled at all. So way stronger than I've been before in my triceps. Especially, I mean, in that in that specific exercise. Um, and then I did 106 kilo for seven and 106 kilo for five. I hope you guys know that I'm joking. Like, it's obviously not 106 kilos, but the weight on the cable says 91, and then I have 15 more on. So I'm gonna call it that. But I know that's something with the cables where it's a bit weird or whatever, and therefore it's probably a lot lighter than that. But I'm gonna call it 106 kilos for now, even though it's probably just around half the weight. So probably a bit over half the weight, like maybe like 70 kg. But well, anyways, guys, that is all for Brute Strength Day 100 and what, like 52, and I'll see you all for the next one. I'm out.